Hi, moral recap here. Today I'm going to explain about a romantic comedy film called My Mom's New Boyfriend. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film opens in the Museum of Louvre, Paris, and it shows us Tommy and his two associates trying to overpass the security of a protective glass in order to get their hands on a sculpture. Apparently, Tommy is the expert and the others are waiting for him to do the job. Tommy opens the glass cage and lifts it upwards. He steps near the sculpture, but the cage falls down on him, trapping him inside. Tommy starts yelling at his associates that they should have made sure the mechanism that's holding the cage works fine. His associates try to lift the cage, but the museum security catches them in the act. They run away, but Tommy remains in the cage. Tommy gets arrested by the security, and they threaten him that they will throw him in solitude for 6 months if he does not tell them who his associates are. Tommy says that wherever they put him, he will escape by Friday at 3 o'clock. They ask him how he can be so sure, and Tommy replies he has a meeting to attend on Friday at 4 o'clock. Next, we are taken to Louisiana and see Henry getting ready to depart. He puts his stuff in the trunk of his car. His mother, Martha, drinking soda and smoking, seems very sad that her son is leaving. In general, she doesn't seem to be in a good physical and mental condition. She accompanies her son to the airport and tells him that his father would be proud of him. Henry doubts that since he is an FBI agent and his father died in prison. In any case, Henry departs and Martha is left a mess. She sits on the floor inside the airport and is getting ready to take a sip from her coffee. At the exact moment, somebody throws a coin in her coffee. The film jumps to 3 years later and we see a cab pulling in front of Martha's house. Henry steps down from it and unloads his stuff. He walks inside the house with his baggage and looks around for his mother. The first thing he sees is a coin in a glass rectangle. He looks further and sees a thin woman lying under the sun, next to the pool, and approaches her. He's surprised when he realizes that this woman is his mother. She's changed. She's thin, healthy, and has accumulated some money through the stock exchange. Martha tells him that when he left 3 years ago, a man threw a coin inside her coffee, and that made her change her life. She also tells him that she goes by the name Marty now. Henry has also some news for her and tells her that he got engaged to a woman he met in the agency. His fiancée, Emily, will fly in tonight and come stay with him. That same night, Emily rings the bell and Henry welcomes her. Marty and Emily are introduced to each other and Marty has prepared some snacks for them all. Emily tries the snacks and tells Marty she has done a good job. Marty says she dated an Italian chef and he gave her the recipe. Henry asks Marty if she has a boyfriend and Marty replies she does not want to make the same mistake she made with his father. She does not have a boyfriend, she has various boyfriends. That shocks Henry, who's having a hard time believing his mother's transformation. Later, Henry asks Marty why she isn't eating, and Marty replies she has a date in a bit. In the next scene, a young guy, Eddie, bangs on the door and Henry opens up. He sees Eddie and doesn't make the connection at first, but soon he realizes that Eddie is Marty's date. Eddie tries to connect with Henry, but Henry remains cold and distant. When Marty is ready, Eddie takes her with his Harley and they drive away. During the night, Henry can't sleep and is waiting for his mother to return. Another guy, the chef that Marty talked about during dinner, is standing out of their house and looking for Marty. Apparently, he's in love with her. Later that night, Henry wakes up to the noises his mother and Eddie are making. He walks to the kitchen and sees Eddie, who tells him that Marty is a wild woman. While having breakfast the next morning, Henry tells his mother that he is glad about her new self, but he thinks she needs to calm down a bit. Marty tells him that she's just enjoying her life. She has nothing serious with Eddie and they are just having fun. Furthermore, she tells Henry that she was not lucky enough to connect with someone like Henry has connected with Emily. She advises him to not take her for granted. A few moments later, Henry, Marty, and Emily take a walk through a fun fair. Tommy is also present at the fun fair and flies the drone around. He accidentally hits Marty with it and she falls on the floor. Tommy helps her up and apologizes. Tommy treats them all coffee and talks about a romantic island he knows, the most romantic place in the entire world. He invites them to spend the afternoon with him, but Henry says they are busy today. The women look at Henry strictly, and Henry says they might not be busy after all. That same afternoon, Tommy takes them to the museum and shows them a sculpture made by Bernini. This is the same sculpture that Tommy attempted to steal 3 years ago in Paris. Tommy's quite enthusiastic about it and lets them into some detail on what the sculpture represents. Henry is bored and sits down with Emily. Tommy walks around the sculpture with Marty and takes a look at the ceiling, mentioning that the piece of art is protected by laser detectors. Before they say goodbye, Tommy invites them to dinner that following Saturday. The next morning, Henry goes to work and the FBI agency has prepared a brief. An agent says that they have some information about the crew that tried to steal Bernini's sculpture. Their information claims that the same crew is here in Louisiana and will try to steal the sculpture again. While the agent presents the members of the crew, Henry is surprised to see that Tommy is one of them. Henry tells his superiors about it. They tell him to let things run between Tommy and his mother so they can gather more information and capture the whole team when the time comes. Of course, Henry should not reveal that he works for the FBI. On Saturday night, Tommy visits Henry's house to pick them up for their dinner. Henry pours him a drink and they have a short talk while Marty shows Tommy some of her old pictures, when she used to be fat. Emily accidentally reveals that she and Henry are FBI agents by telling Tommy that she can help him erase any speeding tickets that he might get. Tommy takes them to an Albanian restaurant which proves to be a bit shady. Lots of the customers in there are involved in illegal businesses. Tommy tells Henry that it's better to keep his job secret. Tommy has a talk with Marty and tells her that he feels like he's known her forever. Marty asks him if that's a good thing and Tommy says yes. Tommy gets a phone call and the voice on the other end of the line tells him to take a look at his right. Tommy does so and sees his 2 former partners sitting there. Tommy goes to a quiet place to chat with them. They tell him that Marty seems to be in love with him. Tommy is about to tell them something, but they are interrupted by Henry. The next day at the agency, Henry tells his superior that maybe they should put an end to his operation to arrest Tommy because his mother is getting emotionally invested in him. But his superior says that this operation will elevate Henry's career. However, if he doesn't want to be a part of it because he's emotionally involved in it, he can transfer him someplace near Alaska. Henry has no real choices left and accepts to play along. Later, a bunch of FBI agents come into his house and wire the whole place. Henry tells them they don't need to put a mic into his mother's bedroom, but the agents tell him that this is where the most important talks happen. Marty is now home and she gets a call from Tommy, who invites her for dinner at a hotel. The agents listen to that conversation and bug the room, which has been booked by Tommy. Tommy picks up Marty and drives to the restaurant, but understands that he's being watched. He drives his car fast and the agents lose him. Tommy takes Marty to another restaurant but soon realizes that he's still being followed and the FBI is listening to their conversation. No matter what, Tommy continues with their night normally and takes Marty back to his hotel room, where they spend a passionate night together. When Henry returns home, Emily is waiting for him in a playful mood. However, Henry accidentally bumps on some furniture and Emily sees a bug, thinking that Henry is watching over his mother. The next day at the agency, Henry tells Emily the truth about Tommy, that the FBI is watching over him. Tommy meets his partners and they express their doubts about him, asking him how he escaped from jail 3 years back in France. Tommy turns the tables on them and asks them if they are going to join him or if he's going to steal a sculpture on his own. At night, Henry can't hold on to his secret anymore and takes his mother by the pool, where there are no bugs. He tells her the truth about what's been going on. Marty has a date with Tommy tonight and Henry tells her to act normal. Marty goes on her date with Tommy, but she's not having fun. She's disappointed at him. She asks him what he does for a living and Tommy tells her he's going to retire soon. Marty returns home in a sad mood. A few days later, Tommy and his partner trick a security guard at the museum and tie him up. They walk in the museum and suddenly the alarm goes off. More security guards and the police gather around the sculpture, but there's nobody to be seen there. When they leave, we see Tommy and his partner hiding and using a drone to touch the last detectors and set off the alarm. Henry also joins the museum and tells the police to turn the alarm off and place 3 men to guard the sculpture until a technician comes and fixes it. Henry goes to Tommy's hotel and the manager tells him Tommy is not in his room. Henry and Emily run out. Back in the museum, Tommy and his partners wear gas masks and throw a smoke grenade which puts the guards to sleep. They manage to steal the sculpture and put it on wheels to carry it out of there. Once more, his accomplices play a trick on Tommy and trap him within the laser detectors. Tommy runs after them and signals the alarm, but his former partner shoots him and leaves him for dead. Tommy's wearing a vest and gets up. Henry and Emily get to him and want to arrest him, but Tommy reveals he is actually a CIA agent that was undercover. He tells Henry his mother is in danger. Indeed, they drive back home to where Marty is struggling to escape from Tommy's former associates. Tommy, Henry, and Emily burst in the house and save Marty. Finally, Tommy tells Marty that he was telling the truth. This was his last job and he is going to retire now. They kiss and Henry lets them have their moment. The film ends with Henry kissing Emily. Subscribe and hit the like button to help our channel grow. Turn the notifications on so you won't miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.